Sorry guys, that time I have uploaded the video, I guess. Yep, uploaded the video already, so don't worry, you can see it again. Now, last time we left off, Momo speed up to him, walk alongside him. Actually, Midori, I would like to speak with you about you boy. The US student was shocked to see the number 2 hero and Todoroki's father, Endeavor, leaning against a wall down the right of the hall. His height and glare alone intimidating enough for the two, but the flames made it worse. It also didn't help Midoriya having knowledge of Endeavor demonistic past then said, the one for all inheritor inched a little closer to Yairus, just in case, not that he thought were domestic or material anyway, or not. Now is not the time, brain. Midoriya, right? Your quirk is similar to All Might, so I have been told. Midoriya almost tried to speak, getting tired of hearing the paces. He wanted to hear from the Endeavor. Speaking of whom, you are perfect also, my son. I have doubt of my rebellious child realized that he has already told you of my reasoning. He needs to accept he was created to surpass that bastard All Might. There is no sense of defying. You're gonna push his limit, give him the fight of his life, then get him to use his gifted flame. Do you understand? Before Midori could explain, Shock is created. He is your son, not the subject. You can just be quiet, girl. No, not even begin to understand the situation. The hero growled. He stopped himself, grumbled, but calmed himself down before continuing. I am do not need your advice from children, especially from a girl who cannot even think fast enough to not to lose a fight in a 10 second. Now you stay out of my business. Now Midoriya, do as you were told. He hissed through the grinding street at Yaira's and started to walk away. Midoriya saw her visually flinch at that. He may have been able to do the damage control, but her wounds were still fresh and would be hard to heal. He needed to say something. I am not All Might. Endeavor held at his track and turned to look at the Quirk inheritor. And Todoroki isn't your he isn't anymore but himself. He'll make sure his own path as a person and a hero. As a friend, I won't let you and your ideals from him to hold him back. Being a hero, I'm sure he wants to be. Endeavor flames began to flow, alarming the raid. Midoriya was surprised at the smoke created when going off. You best watch yourself, boy. The mouth of yours won't help you in a fight. The walking flamethrower grunt out and began to walk away again, but this is temporary. Short of confidence in Midoriya wasn't just thought just yet, and I thank you. I should listen, Yairozu. You could use her advice. She is already far off more intelligent, far more hero than you will ever be. Midoriya, you don't have to, but it was too late. Endeavor was nose to nose with Midoriya in an instant. Eerie, the people shrink. Veins began, veins began in his face, a mix of pure rage and heat coming off the number 2 hero, singing the quirk inheritor arm hair off. Midoriya did his best to act confident, but his trembling clearly showed just endeavor about his lift his hand. To do what? You didn't know Yaru jumped in. Pulled Midoriya back. Come on, Midoriya, your fight in a few minutes. We said, I'm sure Mr. Endeavor here doesn't need to assault a minor, adding his hero record. This made Endeavor reel back a bit. He let off a burst of flaming in anger. He walked off, fucking kids. The student reached the waiting room about 4 minutes to spare before Midoriya had to go to fight Todoroki, just enough this time for Midoriya to recompose himself, but utterly collapsing into the chair hypothetically and mutter up a storm. Crap, 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 crap. I cannot believe that I just did that. What gonna happen now? He was completely livid, and now I have the number two hero and his son both out for me. not even counting the villain and Kachan. Oh, oh, why do I have to keep pissing off wrong people at the wrong time? And he stopped and he felt two hand flaming grasp at his shoulder. Midoriya breathed. He did instructed, but was still breathing a little faster. At the point, it was probably due to the grumbling on him. We are just students. You a student are far that matter. He cannot even think how harmful thought for sure. He'll lose his hero license, I will assure him, releasing grip on him. Yeah, you're right. Thanks. They smile to one another. Besides, you need to focus on your fight, which brings me back to what I was saying before the whole Fisco. Midoriya looked up with her curiosity, wondering what she was getting at. Midoriya, I just want to say, please don't hurt yourself too much. I know it's impossible to say, don't hurt yourself at all with your quirk, but please try to. I know today is the first time we ever really talked, but at least it's like actual friends. Yet after everything it had happened today, I cannot help but feel extremely worried. As she shared her concern, tugging on her bangs, a habit she seemed to have picked up from Jiro and her earphone jack. Mirror looked at her with a worry. I wanna say yes, but I don't think my quirk will allow it. Please, Mirror, there has to be a way to regulate your power. Lessen the amount of your power to use. Maybe shove all your power into your arms. Just a small amount. She was desperately trying to come up with ideas. She had seen injured Meteor before. She never liked it, but they were getting close. She really didn't like it. Meteor thought for a second. Replied, I think I can lower the amount of my power I put into my limbs, but I have no idea how much I can use without injury. Not to mention how much power is gonna take to destroy Todoroki Glacial. Mama looked down dejected as she understood Todoroki was extremely powerful. There was a little opinions of defending against this desperate dodging of blasting through, and dodging seems to be table for Midoriya. I know, then please promise me that you'll win for both of us. If I can continue the win both of us. Midoriya saw the look on her face when he denied her first promise after earlier today. Today, seeing her sad form and fashion was unable for or him. Fuck, I forget something. Sorry, stretching my back a little bit. Maria saw the look on her face and promised. After earlier today, seeing her said it is any form of fashion was unacceptable to him. His mind and heart was set. I promise. Both. Huh? He raised an eyebrow in confused. I promise I won't hurt myself too badly. And I will win the fight. I won't let you down. He had absolutely no idea exactly how he would do that, but he was going to maybe seeing her bounce back at her sadness today had inspired him a little to feel less like he couldn't do something. We haven't been friends for a day. She already helping me. She's really going to be an amazing hero. Momo smiled at him and lunged at him with another hug. Once again he becomes sniffer than a board. Next fighter come to the arena came Aizawa's unmistakable bored and tired voice in the intercom. Momo gave Midoriya's torture last squeeze. Thank you, now go win this. Midoriya smacked his cheek and nodded and began to walk out of the gateway. He had already intentionally promised to help Todoroki and promised All Might he would do his best. And now he promised the Airozu to get too badly hurt and win. And he had no idea what to do as he saw Todoroki enter from the other side of the stadium. And you see, Midori is gonna win we win the whole stadium now. How I'm going to do it? Do to the doorway saw Yaru's smile. Now when he going to the out of the alley, hallway. He looked back and looked back through the doorway. Saw Yaru smiling at him. All he knew it this time. He's going to keep all his four promises, no matter what. Step one now, he said. Promise one. Immediately regretting those promises, Izuku had already feeling three finger and not even continuing. Now yes, he has broke three fingers already. Now two were still healing from the fight with Shin, so he didn't even mean to break them. When Todoroki shoot out an ice as soon as midnight started the fight, instinct took over his mind, and before he could know it, he pointed his finger down to the count. He had to repeat it second and third time immediately. Afterward, he only had few seconds before Todoroki recovered from his wind attack. At this rate, he wouldn't be able to keep a single promise. He definitely wasn't the best performance, so All Might would be disappointed. He won't be able to get through Todoroki this way. And he clearly wasn't keeping his promise to Yaozu. He had already broken two fingers and kept it when he wouldn't win. Izuku had come out of the waiting room with a three-step plan. Step 1. Figure out how to not hurt himself. Step 2. Get Todoroki to use his flames, saving him from himself. Finally, Step 3. Win. Simply right, expecting his hyper analysis brain to forget one small detail, how the hell that he was supposed to start Step 1. He needed a plan. He needed it now. He owned it too many people. He owned too many people. Come on. Just need to think. I can keep this up. He could see Todoroki begin to recover at his other side of the arena. Midoriya looked up his hand and see Airozu, complete worry on her face. They were they were echoing through his face. He was letting her down. He needed to do something. His speech to her would be meaningless if he had told her about her best when he was truly struggled by Todoroki. Near her was Kachan, was looking almost disgusted at Midoriya's performance. For Midoriya showing such power, for such terrible strategy, he couldn't tell. It was probably both. Of course, Kachan would look at me like that. All he would have to do is blast the ice away, like how he fought against Uraraka, just like I am doing right now against Todoroki, which was clearly wasn't working. I need to exact opposite, which would be his eyes moving over, running down the road to Uraraka and Ida, so also looking concerned, running. Uraraka charged into Kachan, and even though she was wearing herself down with every hit of a kind of pressure, which exactly I need Todoroki. Izuku focused on Ida. I also need that kind of speed and avoid ice. Spread it away fast and wide dodge normally beside my leg. We will just all just break. I put my power into them. Wait, wait a minute, legs. As you know, your body can handle 5%. Maybe don't show your power into your arms. I have legs. Midoriya's scream echoed through his entire stadium. Everyone was dead quiet after hearing that. Then only thing it was heard that All Might face plumbing. Todoroki hesitated for a second, then realized his composed and looked. Midoriya suddenly realized his advantage. Slamming into the foot down, set the ice attack big enough to stop semi-truck. Everyone watches the ice enclosed Midoriya like Zero. They couldn't not see him. He was completely covered. Silence ran through the stadium. Once again, Class 1A looking in horror. Yarozu both hand over her mouth and was wide-eyed. That only one speak was Bakugo. Well, he's dead. Todoroki turned to Midnight. Shouldn't you be saying so? Midoriya shock out of her spotter. Oh yes, Midoriya is unable to control Todoroki thumb. All Ivor turned glanced at Midoriya's thumb. Each of his eyes showed more cracking thumb. The knocking suddenly stopped. Everyone was assumed that it was Midoriya's last-ditch effort to break the ice. before declared the lose declared loser. He seemed he had finally accepted his fate. Crash, smash! Midoriya flew right out of the miniature iceberg and dropped a kick to a Todoroki face, breaking the ice. As soon as the fire user knows it is in the progress, Todoroki was shot back, only barely supporting himself in ice before failing out the ring. Look up. There was Midoriya, middle of the ring, red vines, lightning cracking through his leg. Everyone was quiet until Arazu almost shouted their stand. Toshinori popped his right and buff from realizing both arm and high, both slam shouted, "Yes!" The crowd followed through the example and went berserk, thrilled by the turnaround. Midoriya could barely hear himself think. Yairazu heard a giggle behind her, turning around. Mina was smirking at her with sorry. Mira could barely see Yairazu had a giggle behind her and turned around. Mina was smirking at her with an eyebrow raised. "You're pretty pumped up for Midoriya right now, yay Momo." Momo blushed, cleared her throat and sat back, not defying Mina's teasing with a response. Back down to the field. Midoriya looked at his own leg. "I can handle 5% of my power. And I don't need just my arm to fight. I'll put 5% into my each leg. I can switch between my arms and leg, only to use full power as last resort." And with that iceberg in the ring, the space has in, space has lessened, allowing me to keep pressure easier on All Might, Uraraka, and Ida. Yairu, Yairuzu. I won't have been able to figure this out with anything about any of you. Thank you. I won't let any of you down. Midori look up in the crowd, Momo, and look up at Momo and smile at her. At the first fight was going perfect for Todoroki. Midori was slowly breaking himself down while he had to keep spending ice in his way. His frostbite had hardly even started, and Midori it was 3 finger down. This anger is for the surely feeling was just inching on a cake. Now, thought this time of fourth of the ring remained after his last attack. Midori randomly pulled a whole new way of fighting with his ass. And now he had broken nose while pressured against the edge of the ring. Only could see go through the Todoroki's head. What the hell is going on? All the while, Todoroki expectation grew, as so did Midoriya's frustration. As soon as the fight had resumed, things had immediately turned for the ninth inheritor favors. Todoroki had tried to use his eyes slide away from the edge of the ring, but Midoriya needed Todoroki to stay stress and pressure. He needed the hell. Oh, sorry, what I'm thinking. Just go brain dead for a moment. Helichromactin on the edge, frustrating him lightly. It was easy to convince someone to do something that way. That was some of the other bully would convince him to do something like that back in the Eldera. Like other them cheated on his answer, do their homework for them, etc. They would have cornered him, wouldn't let him out until he agreed. It was the only harassment Kashi didn't take part in. He would never want or need Deku's help with anything educational. He using his new technique. Midoriya leaped forward and bringing an eye and dealt right to hook to Todoroki's jaw. 5% Texas smash. However, Todoroki reflex kicked in. He grabbed Midoriya's right shoulder, encasing it in ice. Midoriya planted both of his feet on Todoroki's chest and pushed off, landing for 7 meters away. "Oh, it seems our mean green bone breaker machine has just pulled a new trick off his hat. He managed not to break his bone with that attack. What did you think about your student new moves, Iresar? May President Mike barreled over the intercom. Aizawa just sighed in a sound relief. Thank God, finally. All might view the fight in a way and wide eye as Slackjaw what seems to have protest finally gasping one for all in a whole new way. Did I teach him that? I'll just take what I can get a go with, yes. Back in the ring, Midoriya's body felt like a human Pac-Man level, his power to all moving to an all four corner. His body. All Might was right. I needed to stop with these weird angles. His punches hadn't just as much power in it had to open. Switching between his arms and leg were too slow. One for all couldn't make it easier for time. The hit it was essentially tried just a regular punch, not to mention an already broken finger. Hopefully, his flabbergasted show him down in a compassed with my snitching. Midoriya transported his power to his left arm with a punch of ice with his shoulder. He had more time to think because Todoroki immediately blasted off more ice that direction. Not time switching his leg, he battered away with ice with backhand. It was near as effective as his finger flicker, but it was smashed to similar ice attack. Todoroki began to rush away from the edge, using his right foot to spin curved gavert attack to Midoriya. Midoriya jumped away from the ice, only to have his left arm froze. Todoroki had used the curved, curved ice to bait Midoriya, had to turn his head enough to the side to see Todoroki's next attack. Before Midoriya could send one for all into his right arm, the ice continued to crawl to his body and encase his whole torso. His shoulder and hip were frozen, making movement even more difficult. Todoroki wasn't about to take any more chances. He prepared one final attack. No, it's not ending here. Not like this. Oh, the human two side of a pillar at night managed to capture Midoriya once again. Will his new move getting out of this one? Midoriya refused to lose against an opponent which was handicapping themselves. While Midoriya was a man of pride, that wasn't too much, not only this, but it was how he lost. He wasn't sure how he would get to able to look at Yairos or All Might afterward. He needed to speed up step 2 ASAP. Why wouldn't you use your power? Blurted out Midoriya. Todoroki hated at first shock, but then anger. Did my old man put you to this? Are you trying to get me to use my left side for him? Todoroki purposed give Midoriya a sightless amount of time than he needed to how to escape. It was dumb, like really stupid. But it was all he had beside. When the still reckless Aizawa couldn't exactly tell him he didn't use his head. No, I'm doubting this is for him. I'm doing this for me. Five, just 5%, no more. All the people I owe my life, he said straight up through his body. For the people who supported me. He then thought of All Might, his mom, his friend, especially a newfound connection to Momo. But now, more importantly, the entire crowd noticed Miyaeda's forehead began to glow, crackle. I'm doing this for you. He slammed his head down, headbutting the ice surrounding him. The ice shattered everywhere, fog and mist from the ice surrounded the area on impact. It was clear Midoriya stood there free from his ice prison. Blood was gushing through his palm, shed edge on ice oozed down the other side of his face. His forehead was bright red and irritated. You can live like this, having both hold you down, having a piece of you that you hate, keeping from you being the best you can. I know what is like. I am not letting those things hold me back anymore. I am giving it to my all to be there, to be here. Midori jumped forward, slamming his fist into Todoroki's stomach and his abdominal. Too high, give him jam about his finger being buttered on. Todoroki skipped to the ground. Look at me, my head, my finger, even with your ice attack, you haven't laid and scratch on. You own me. You're trying to be a hero on a small, on that smile and ones that everyone look up to. Everyone here, they all giving everything to do. If you cannot do that, then you don't deserve to win. So come at me, and with everything you got. Stadium was silent. No one could believe or even understand what was happening. Todoroki clenching his fist in frustration, interested. I won't. I refuse to use a damn quirk. It's yours. It is your power, not his. Todoroki eye widened. Every time around him, everything around him disappeared. His memory from long forgotten, floating like a dam, had broken. His mother and sitting him down, watching all night television, and she spoke to him. You want to be a hero, right, Shoto? That's good. You aren't bound by his blood. You will be who you want to be. You will be your own amazing hero. He look up to Midoriya, and next thing ever know, explosion of heat and fire erupt from the arena. Step 2 complete, Midoriya said in his mind. Step 3 now. Holy shit, that's a lot of fire, Kaminari said. For Class 1A, excluding Midori and Todoroki, the entire fight had been, to put it lightly, in a shit show. No one had a single clue what was going on. They had no idea how Midoriya stopped breaking his bones. With all the stuff Midoriya had been screaming about was, or why all of a sudden Todoroki started to use his flame. All they know was that the fighting was an endgame now. The closest to Midoriya in the stadium were glowing exclusively, Ori naming Uraraka, Ida, Asui, and Yairozu. Uraraka was scouting the area and blinded by the fire. She realized her arm was in front of her face, blocking the blind light. That fire is so hot. Do you guys think Deku can still win this? The question of her of the hour, isn't it? Momo thought. This is the question of our hour, isn't it? Momo thought to herself, as she couldn't believe it. He was doing it while that start. Midoriya had rough. He had made breakthrough. He had kept his promise. As much she had almost faith in Midoriya. She didn't expect that. She knew she had been asking too much from Midoriya, but to Midoriya suddenly figure out how to stop breaking alone. Well, she thought she was asking him too much. Apparently, Midoriya thought otherwise. He had done it while he had still broken a few fingers. She expected that. Well, she wanted to not to break everything. She heard about the entrance exam, about how he broke his arm and both of his legs. She leaned. She learned the attack at UAJ had broken his finger and both limbs. She didn't wanted him to utter broken. But Midoriya was always just didn't want him to utterly broken. But Midoriya was always be Midoriya. In the little time they had been classmates, they had already left a major impression. Always surprising everybody, helping them, doing things for them. He managed to go past his limitation, and with that look on his face, he clearly has every intention to win. And he's doing it for me. She couldn't help but flutter that came to life in her chest. Before she could even try to explain it, Ida responded to Uraka's question. Midoriya is injured worse than Todoroki is. But that isn't stopping him before. It depends how powerful Todoroki's fire is. Well, we never seen him use it in a fullest before, but from what I can see right now, I can be sure. Ashi spoke too bluntly as ever. I don't think so. Now Todoroki has both his ability and Midoriya already had trouble with his eyes, then I think he'll do it. The three students whipping their head at the right moment was standing both hand and railing and staring directly into the ring. The light of the flame emitting to her face, shining in her eyes. Midoriya going to win, I know. Shoto! All the attention in the stadium immediately focused on Endeavor, uh, stomping his way down the stadium. Yes, you finally accepted your destiny. Use your left side and live up to your reason that I created you. Peasant Mike came back to intercom. Endeavor suddenly shouts word of encouragement. What a doing of what's a doting father. Endeavor focused back on his son and flattered. His son was simply smiling, not even paying attention to him. He looked over to Meadow and saw he was smiling to it. Whatever that boy has done, I can't help but thank him. He really did it. My legacy will finally live on. Then walking majestic said, smiling widely. Todoroki felt his body heat rise. It was new. It had been so long since he had used his fireside. He felt the frostbite slowly melting away, the mix of hot and cold leaving him warm, a nice warm sensation traveling to his body. Who could have even thought that using his left side would feel so nice? But he couldn't dwell on it. Well, the battle had to win. He looked up to Midoriya, who was smiling, but up at his teacher's stand, All Might saw the smile. Young Midoriya was your plan all along. Todoroki found as he brought on Midoriya, who was still standing there smiling at him. No matter with what's the matter with why is smiling. Midoriya shook out of his stupor, remembering where he was. Todoroki's flame was still followed out with it almost like a suffers like the sun. During the hair color spoke again. You are helping your opponent in battle, so who's screwing around now? The response Todoroki got was Midoriya phoning his bound, utter determination covenant. Todoroki, I'm not someone who has a lot of pride, and this may sound like something Kanchan would say. What but what's the point of beating an opponent that wasn't in their best? Oh yeah, that was pretty high, assuming what makes you sure you're gonna win. Media look up his shoulder at his classmate seat. There could see Iris standing up looking directly at him, not the outcome, the fear and worry in her eyes. She believed in him. He looked back at Todoroki and said, because I made a promise, so losing is not an option. Midoriya raised his right foot and slammed down, 5% coursing and crackling to his leg, ready to take off. Todoroki did the same as eyes and ice cold air spreading around his foot and blazing fire bursting out of his left side. Midoriya had planned. He had been pulling out all the cards for the fight. Yaruzu had inspired him that day. She had sent him mid-highway on going 110% to think everything just keep his promise. He had used her Uraraka, Ida, All Might and Kachan for ideas. Any Kachan was going to help him on last time. So Irazuba, this is require everything I got to. This time, seeing how to slow down for Midoriya, Todoroki's ice ball came at him, which was fully focused on him as his foot. Midoriya jumped out of the ice way to Todoroki. 5% was enough to get him. Half in, half core, used it to on jump. He raised his power slightly before he began to jump and hop and jogged Spike, slacking out the ice for quickly making his way over to his opponent. Bakugo eye widened at Deku's moment. Those are my moves! Todoroki engulfed himself on half side ring and flame another and like a blazing omelette standing slide. Cementos and Midnight came to the realize that two boys' unbelievable power was about to crush full force. The R-rated heroine already tore the shield of her costume to leak the gas on her arm. Boy, stop this. This is too dangerous for public area. You'll get yourself killed. Cementons were trying to stop it too, sending contract concrete out of reform the arena. Izuku pushed so hard that uh, for one last launch at Todoroki. To the moment realized he put 50% on his leg, frequently cracking into his surface. The bone was not breaking his leg. He switched from his arm to leg to 100%. One for all cracking, zipping to every last muscle fiber, sibling sleeves, gym uniform was shared in a few ways, but instinct he was using it on a right arm with broken finger already plunging it. I will win this. Come at me with your full power, Todoroki. He winked. He yanked his arm back, ready to rocket his fist forward. Todoroki raised a scenario and golden God hand ready to Midoriya. I understand Midoriya. The entire crowd stood fearing the thought of their body. Thank you. Tall cement wall was tired blocked the attack, but were all shattered like glass. An explosion ripped through the air, wind gushing out of all through the stadium. Up at the stand, everyone was either blocking their faces, holding for damaged life in fear becoming the caught in wind. This is insane, Kirishima yelled over the rushed wind in his ear. This is the rest of the class couldn't agree more. Watching the explosion cause every classmate their powerhouses. Crushed by their classmate or powerhouses. Meteor was flying into the air, caught in the explosion. Time grinted into Maslow. He watched as the ground come hurting toward him. He knew it wouldn't be able to put his feet from the start. It was worse than he expected. He finally had went from 70% skill and 30% luck to 100% luck. No, I'll still win. He thought of his idea from breaking at the attack. He needed execute it perfectly. This time, where Kachan will help him back during the first battle training. Kachan used small explosion to eradicate himself in the air. I don't have explosion, but I do have my fingers. Midoriya, pu- Midoriya pressured his point finger in the left side due to his right hand being shattered, shattered and having three fingers on the right hand broken the twists now behind his thumb and flickered. Daloa smash. He had no time to aim. He just had to assume the explosion propelled, propelled, propelled him, propelled. Fuck, what is it called? Propelled, propelled him back in the sight line. The force from his flicker pro- propelled. Ah, shit, again that word. Propel. Propelled him like a tornado. Ri- right back into the ground zero of explosion. Dust, smoke, still everywhere. He couldn't see anything, so he cooked his shoulder out, ready to ram around anything. Hopefully Todoroki and not the wall. Please be Todoroki, please be Todoroki. It felt like a minute, even though it was only 2 seconds, but he finally ran into something. Not something, someone. It hit causes Izuku to lose his momentum and slide across the floor. The injuries, the force that explosion like his concussion he had gotten from the headbutting na- the ice the ice earlier was getting to him. The consciousness was slipping from his grasp. The desk diverted, finally setting the entire audience look his way to the ring. Some Midoriya barely awake, lying just inches from the edge of the ring. Todoroki was against the wall, outside of the ring, holding his stomach, where he was hit by a teenage tornado. Made Todoroki is out of the bound winner. Izuku Midoriya, the cheer that crowd started to become muffled. To Izuku, his version began to tunnel. He smiled and laughed. Step 3 complete. Midoriya then passed out. As Midori was being carried off, what remained of him in the ring on the sector, Yasu, Uraka, Ida, and Asu stood there with a rush down to check on the quirk inheritor status. As Momo began to running out the door, she stopped by Jiro. Hey, where are you going, Emo? Yaru stopped and looked at Jiro. In all the events that had transpired that day, she almost forgotten about the people here. Rock best friend Kyoko. Sorry, Kyoko, but I will need to go check on Midoriya. Wait, Midoriya? No, not that I'm concerned for his health, but just I didn't know you guys were close. Yeah, as you look back, trembling at her trim. It's a fair recent connection. You can come if you want. I really need to get down there. Yeah, sure. Jiro was a little confused. It was still wasn't she? She didn't care about Midoriya's health. They were spoken too much, but when they did, he always seemed like a nice guy. She once caught him listening to a band she liked when his headphone cord unplugged. When it when it caught onto the door handle. She also saw him laugh at quietly as a jab at Kaminari. She could easily realize being friends with him someday, but right now the only real male friend she had was Kaminari, and he was an idiot. The girl was kind of tight knit group in class. As yet, the expectation of Uraraka. So now all of a sudden, the past hour, our best friend has magically grown fond of the green-haired bo- bone buster. Yaimo was looking nearly panicked for Midoriya right then. Her focus was getting onto him. Kyuka had more than a few questions, and her first being, why the hell does it bother me so much? She would have saved the question for later, for then that arrive at the Rivergal Stadium office. Before they could open the door, Recovery Girl popped off her head of the door. Sorry, I know you were worried, but you cannot come in. I have to put the numb skin through the surgery. Surgery, they all said in shock. Recovery Girl flinched at the sudden noise. She checked her ear and the continued. Yes, surgery. It's nothing too bad. It's just his hand. The three of his fingers are broken twice. I need to remove the bone shattered with the fallen out of the piece. Put back together. What can I when my cook will be able to heal the rest when he wake up? He repeats. They wake up. This still sound kind of bad. The US student thought in unison, but they still couldn't help but sigh in relief. Their friend wasn't too hurt. Momo put a hand over her heart and sighed happily. Oh, thank goodness. She missed the raised eyebrows she was getting from Oraka and Jiro. However, all eyes snapped back to Recovery Girl, who had almost guilty look on her face with how long the surgery will take place, how long it will take for him to wake up again, gain stamina, and lose it. Due to my quirk, and finally I have the rest. I have to test him post-commission syndrome. That could take 1.5 hours, possibly 3 hours. I'm sorry, but I have called up to Irisa, told him wait to withdraw Midoriya from the what? The alien in unison. Momo tried to speak, but Midoriya earned this is important to him. This is not fair. You cannot just stop yelling. Oh, yes, I know it's not fair, but I'm sorry, but he needs time to heal. Time. I doubt I will be given. I already hailed young Mitodoroki. He is going to continue on my default. But but before Yaruzu could continue, Ida put her hand on her shoulder again. I'm not happy either, Yaruzu. None of us are. But she is right. We can't have Midoriya going over there to fight in bad condition. Momo looked down and rejected, knowing they were right. Recovery Girl took his acceptance. Took this as acceptance. Now I have to start the surgery. You can wait out here if you want. With With that, the youthful heroine took her leave, starting the surgery, leaving the rest of the students at their shocked faces. Not shocked, leaving the rest of the students to their slumber mode. Ida looked up to the rest of the friend. I am up next in the tournament. As the class president, should I be the one with support the rest of the class? Keep me informed on Midoriya's status. I promise I'll do my best to fight on for win for Midoriya, Ida exclaimed as his movements sniff and engage as ever. With that, he spent toward the waiting room, prepared for next fight. He looked a bit trail behind. Uraka turned to other girl. There is a mount TV over there in front of those chairs. I'm gonna just watch Jesus fight over and wait for Deku. Are you guys going to come? Zero looked at her and I'll just stay here. Might as well see the green he holds up. Hey Yamomo, are you... Yamomo? Jiro then Oracle looked at as he was staring down at the hallway that Ida had left. Frustration echoed into her usually smooth and proclaimed face. What Ida? How he promised to fight and win for Midori as a kid? It was just like what Midori had promised me, but it felt wrong. He shouldn't have to make that promise for Midori. Midori should be able to fulfill his own promise and goal. He won and evolved himself so much in a fight. He won. He earned the right to be able to fight on. He definitely earned the right to have the rest of the rest before his fight. He has done so much for me. Just the day I have to do something, I can pay him back. Momo whipped around to the other girls. I'll be right back. Please call me if anything happens to me, dear. Wait, where are you going? But it was too late. Zero had fallen onto deep air for Momo. Momo had already left, turned at the corner of the hallway. Momo ran through the fighting of the stair, heading toward the announcement booth where she made it top to floor. She reached the door handle and only to open up and knock down. She trembled backward about the fall back down to the stairs. She was caught by a, ra- a rapping. She looked to see it was a captured tape between the two nub of his chest handle. He lifted back to yeah, he lifted Yaruzu back to his way. Are you all right? Still in a moment to as ever was. I said yes, I am fine. Momo said, panting her clothes down. Good. Now, if you excuse me, I have to do something important to attend. Wait, Mr. Aiza, please, I have something to tell you. He looked back at his silence, stagnant her. Please, find a way to keep Midoriya in the tournament. He deserved to have this chance to win. You see, saw him out there. He stopped breaking his bone in a fight until the very end. He earned the right to be the time, have the time to rest before his fight. We cannot just have a small break or something to give him time. What if you have changed? Momo stopped at her speech. And that she looked at herself for just staring. What? You you're the last person I would expect to running to the teachers to change the rules. You seems more me like more policy follower, not as a hardcore as Ida, but still a rule follower. I especially didn't expect you to come to do this for the problem child. Last I checked, you two weren't that close. Momo raised and bowed that you pay more attention to our relationship. As I turned around, started walking. I am your homeroom teacher. It's my job to watch how close you are to your classmate. Now, how cooperative and interact with them. One day you will be joining agency and a hero team, and being too close to the people will be a factor in heavily. Come, come on, let's walk and take a walk and talk. You can tell me about the sudden change. There is a jog down to the stairs to him, matching this place. Well, you see, Mr. Aizawa, Midoriya is helping me today. After my fight with Tokiyami, I hit a bit, a low point. Whatever confidence I had in myself, I started to crumble at my feet. I completely bounced off my fight. Snapping decision making strategy. The skill failed me. I almost shut down, but then Midora found me. He shared about himself, made me feel better. He single-handedly repaired my confidence, at least the best as he could. Yasu looked down as he was walking feet, not waiting to know what Aizawa thought about her breaking down after one lose. But Midori really helped me. He inspired me to do better to myself, and he promised to do better to himself. Well, that we could do it together. He already bettered himself in the fight. Not, not that, not it just for fight, but for me as well. I'm just going better myself for him too. My decision making is doesn't matter if the rule is or a decision made by someone with authority. This time to thing to do. As his friends, as a future hero, I need to have confidence in my action, my strategy, my viewpoint. I can't cloud my brain with a second guessing anymore. I believe Midoriya should allow to continue. Momo looked at Aizawa. She had realized that they had stopped walking when they were next to the door, the class seats. Eraser had stared blankly at her a few seconds. Wait, went by before he responded. That kid is always something with him, isn't it? Well, then you will be glad to know I have never had my intention of Mirror Bear being left out. Wait, you didn't? Mo exclaimed as a jaw dropped. No, I didn't care what recovery girls say or anyone else says. As his homeroom teacher, I have the final word as what happened to him. Aizawa leaned into the class stand. Kaminari, come over here. Mina look over Kaminari. Oh, you're in trouble. Oh crap, Kaminari said, nervously as he walked to Aizawa. As he saw Momo, immediately immediately the worst. I swear the cheerleader outfit was were Minata's idea, not mine honest. Mr. Aizawa glared down at Kaminari. That's not about but that's not this is not that about but remind me to speak to you and Minata privately after school. The class resumed. A complete just followed me to keep quiet. At the point, Mom was completely lost. They headed down to recovery girl office. Jiro and Uraka tried to ask what was going on, but Aizawa shushed them and started to watch the cat video on his phone. 45 minutes passed after Ibara and Ida's battle continued with Ida sealing the victory. Tokiyami defeated Mina in a battle as Bakugo vs. Kirishima seemed to be coming into end. The recovery girl came out at her office when everyone waited impatiently for an update. The surgery is complete. His hand should be fine, with the expectation of some tearing on his finger and being hit roughly at the spot. She looked and saw his hair stand up and walked toward. Hello there, Aizawa. Checking up on your student. He is out cold with the surgery that and the fight was completely worn out. I checked before he comes to. That's fixable. Kaminari, follow me. They all walk into the office and saw Izuku on the bed on the top of his head, wrapping wrap cover over his cut from over his eyes. His ankle and had a split. It like his right arm was fully cast up. His left arm had small print and using everyone was especially Arrows and Uraka hated seeming like that. But they couldn't only imagine how much worse he had been turned out if he had managed to stop breaking his bone at that time. Aizawa gave him once more and looked back at everyone. All all right everyone, stand back a bit. Kaminari, put your hand on Midoriya. Ikebukuro tried to speak out. Hold on, yeah, Aizawa, what do you think you're doing? Getting him ready for the fight. Kaminari gave him 10 volts. What? I thought I made it clear he shouldn't be able to fight. He won't. He had enough time to recover. Kaminari still confused. He said to follow along with his teacher. He said, Jolt, Midoriya with two finger and one for all inherited to shot away. What's happening? Where am I? Did I win? Oh, did I win? I won, right? Cause I didn't his shock rambling caused by Aizawa smacking a cast his hand over his mouth. Midoriya, you're fully awake and encouraged right now. Nod yes and then or no. Midoriya nod up and down. Good, Repagal, use your quirk on him. She looked at him, bluffed. Aizawa, this is madness. You cannot just do Shinji. Shinji, do this please. You know you can make me leave. She huffed and puffed, but narrator she kissed Midori on the head and watches him look once again to Midoriya. How are you feeling? Midoriya checked himself up, patting down, casting the area to wrapping casted area to wrap. Actually, I feel fine, a bit sore, but nothing is broken. Good now. What day it is? Tuesday, sir. Good now. Your full name, parents' name, Izuku Midoriya, parents Inko Midoriya, Hasashi Midoriya. And nuisance or question any kind of? No, Mr. Aizawa. You don't have concussion anymore, and aren't you showing any side effect and tired? Midoriya felt eye drop, yes. Kaminari 5 volt. Izuku shoot open. Oh, no, it. Ow! That's strange. Sorry, but this is your time limit. There is a break in between from you next round. And I managed to move Tokiyami's fight up before you. I would say you have 15 minutes before you face Ida. Now get those cats off and get something in your stomach. Make sure that tiredness doesn't come back. Move around a bit. Get your brain following. Talking to your friends. You won't be able to getting another out. If you lose this match, you lose. But you and Ida are both of my students, so it doesn't matter either way to me. And he looked his way, dragging Kaminari with him. Before Midoriya could even begin, he paused, he progressed anything, but he wasn't going. He felt two things. The first was wrap around his shoulder. It was a black ponytail covering the right side of his head. The another was the cane and repeated hurting him in the head. What have I told you? You reckless going on to the death and bound both two of us. Midori tried to block his head and with his arm and was pinned down by Yairozu using hug. I'm sorry. At least I learned how to stop breaking my arm. And not yet still broken one. Recovery girl stopped her assault and sighed. While I disagree with Aizawa, Babrick turns to speed recovery. Now that you are awake, I know there is no stopping you. You have fully healed, but you needed surgery. Midoriya lightly moved, Yairozu doing his best to once again to ignore the fact she was being hugged by an extremely beautiful girl. The fact that he was being hugged by an extremely beautiful girl. Doing properly too. His face was completely red, but he looked at his right side and had his eye wide in shock. His pointer, middle ring finger were all over. He had new bump. They were cooked. At the point, his finger had scars. They look almost like rings, but only to ignore around 3/4 of the dig. He then another scar running directly under his middle finger. It was front of his hand, then back is under his ring under his finger, running over to his knuckles. He looked at them with thought, bittersweet in a way. They were definitely weren't most appealing to the look, but he got them from not being able to control his power. But he got them for helping a friend, so he didn't regret them. He, the recovery girl realized he was muttering to himself, "Folks, you shouldn't regret them. Use them as a reminder how far you have go ahead today. Besides, you should work just fine in a few short could be regret, and so I moved them. I hopefully your day of breaking your arms are over. With the new moves of it, there's a cup and the cup at the pitcher, the water on the other side of the table. I'll leave you and your girlfriend to it." Recovery girl finished, teasing his head off the door. Here is Emily shoot off Midoriya blushing. Midoriya passed out. "I'm not his girlfriend. We are simply good friends." Recovery girl looked back and chuckled. Whatever you say, dear." She then left to connect Toshinori to update on Midoriya. Momo shook the blush off and on her face and grabbed the water pitcher off the table, and she slightly dropped some onto his Midoriya's face. He fluttered eyes open. "So sorry. I think she does that stuff as a payback for visiting her too much." Iharizu sat back aside of the bed, giving a small smile. She poured and handed Midoriya the glass of water, setting her the pitcher down As he responded, okay, it's okay, I really don't mind, but how are you feeling? Are you fully awake? Meadow laughed after. I definitely wide awake. Then he looked up to the grave and smiled. So, how did I do? Yarizu broke into his very big smile. You were incredible, you actually did it. Not that I had a doubt that you would keep your promise or anything, but keep them both. Meadow looked up at his lap and looked dejected. No, that's okay. I thought you were impossible to even I made them, but I wouldn't have won yet. I still have two fights, and if I win the next one, Ida will be tough. He's a better fighter than me. Besides, I still hurt myself. Already failed my first promise. I'm sorry, but I still stop it. Nadira looked at Yairus and placed his hand over his shoulder. First of all, you're just fought against arguably the most powerful student of our class and won. So don't you dare think you can fight. You did hurt yourself, but nowhere near amount you would have. But you would have you did find a way to stop breaking, which I should remind you that you did. You didn't fail, not slightly, and why might disagree with your decision to make Todoroki use his flames, she said, punching down his right arm. Ow! I can't even be that happy. I'm okay for once not to hurt me. No, but anyway, by the end of the day, you're going to standing up the first place. Pende, persistent. You're amazing now. Now stop using your energy to unnecessary to sulk it. Use it to think about to beat Isa. Midor was really starting to hate his inherited tear Dutch because he didn't want to cry in front of her. But a few tears were fell into the Yarozu. Yes, we are really bad at some whole self-esteeming thing, aren't we? Most definitely. The two smiled at each other, not realizing they had forgotten about the thing as other people in the room. Uraraka and Jiro realized they had been forgetting their intruding at the moment between their individual best friend with that they decided to. Yaris and Midoriya both missed the look at and confused and annoyance Uraka sending Yairizu's way, and they also missed the same look Jiro was giving Midoriya. Midoriya got his cats taken off, but in this case, Momo gave him a light wrapped around medical tape his arm. He drank some water and splashed on his face. He was wide awake now, ready to fight Ida. He had about 5 minutes until he had head out. He learned that Tokiyami lost his fight, which meant he had to beat Ida. He would have he would have had to fight Kachan. Oh boy. He had fought Kachan before. At the more time, if one could caught getting your ass kicked because you had no core, couldn't control back as fighting. I just hope I can get a spar at the moment, attack like in the battle training, but I can focus on him now. Ida is the priority. Okay.